Hey everyone, Ekman here with another video, and we're here at the release of Union Arena here in North America with both the Bleach and the Hunter x Hunter sets, and I've been having a lot of fun in the last couple weeks doing some testing, some building, going to the release and pre-release events, and honestly just been having a really good time with this game in general. So to kind of commemorate that, I did want to make this tier list for this, just going over my thoughts for the first, meta for this. This is a game that kind of has like a weird meta where some archetypes won't be, supported for a while. It's more of like new archetypes kind of get added throughout it. So a couple of things though before we get started. First, if you guys like this content, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe. I really do appreciate it, and it means that you guys want more Union Arena content in the future. And you can also check out my website, linked in the description, for deck lists for any of these decks if you guys want to try them out yourself, or see where my thought is as well, and kind of why I'm thinking the way I am for some of these different archetypes and stuff. So these are kind of what I've limited down to archetypes in this game. Unlike One Piece, and other Bandai card games, there's not like a singular leader to kind of identify the deck. You can, identify the IP that's, if it's a Bleach deck or a Hunter x Hunter deck, but you can, still have different flavors within the same color, with how they've done it. So I've done my best to kind of choose like 11 different decks based on the card pools for it. But this is a bit like tricky to, like purple in general. Purple has like a lot of different ways to build it in Bleach, and I kind of just limited it to just 2 different versions right now. So there's that. And then also, this is obviously week 1. I'm going to be kind of updating this as we go for it, but there's not a lot of data for it, especially since this is our own meta in the sense that, we get different sets legal at different times. And also the Bleach set that we got was a nerf Bleach set compared to how they got it in Japan. So that's just the idea. So nothing like hard and fast with any of these. These are just my own opinions, and if you guys have different opinions, I'd love to hear them, but don't take this as like the master tier list for what this the next couple weeks are going to be. So jumping on into it though, we're going to start off with the purple Bleach just because it's a high topic for this one. So if we got the entirety of the purple Bleach deck, I would definitely put like the Byakuya version of these on tier 1. However, missing Rukia definitely hurt, I think, more of the Byakuya versions of these, just because we have a harder time setting up and less consistency with it. And Byakuya is really great late game when we have a lot of different cards in our sideline, but without it, I don't think this version of it is as good. I think the Ichigo version is a little bit better now because of that, because we have better ways to fill up our trash. This one, just being able to get rid of a big body, does become a little bit more impactful. And so I actually think like the Byakuya versions here, but I also want to just like mention, these are so like arbitrarily like named archetypes too. Like purple good stuff is still good for Bleach in general. I'm just trying to show with this that I think like the builds are going to depend more on Ichigo and the Ichigo package than necessarily the Byakuya package and Rukia package that I think were more common in Japan when this was released. So purple is still great. You definitely still play Byakuya in your Ichigo leaning decks too. But I think you need to lean more on the Ichigo side than like the Byakuya side, because both of them have specials. But I think the Ichigo special with the setups looking like right now is just kind of better for it. So that's what I'm saying for that. Purple Bleach is still good, but I think I just like it leaning to Ichigo a little bit more. And next up we got Kurapika, which I think is also going to be in tier 1. I think it's one. These are 2 of the better decks right now for us in this card game, and I think it's pretty strong. I think a combination of one, purple Bleach being a little bit slower helps it out quite a bit, but then also the fact that like the promo that we get included into. So if you guys don't know this, Bleach lost 2 cards in his card pool that were purple cards. The Hunter x Hunter, green, blue, and purple each got a promo card added into the main set that wasn't in the release set in Japan. So the 2-drop Kurapika is really helpful for this. It's just another Kurapika that you can raid on top of, but also the fact that it can get impact pretty quickly is a great target for your special trigger. I think it helps out the deck quite a bit. So because of that, I think Kurapika is in a good spot in this meta, and it's definitely like, I think purple Bleach and green Kurapika are going to be 2 of the more common archetypes in this beginning meta too. So from there, I'm just going to go, this was kind of randomly ordered for the rest of them, so I'll just kind of go down the line. We've got the purple Zoldyck family, and I think this one just is kind of like in tier 2 for right now. And I do want to mention like the tiers that we have. So tier 1 is just, it's what you think, but I also want to say like, we're not like these are like defined, like there's only so many decks that exist, and so there's only so much variety we can have right now. There's definitely decks that can exist in tier 2 that can do well, and there might just be builds that I'm not aware of, but I'm just gonna say like in my mind like where these are. So these aren't like, don't feel bad I put this in 2. If you think it's viable, it can be tier 1.5. Tier 1.5 I think is better to say like I could see it be either way, and tier 2 is like maybe 1.5, but I don't think it's tier 1. So yeah, I don't like the Illumi raid card is not like super great to play into. Like the double damage is kind of nice, but and the card draw, but like this being a 5 energy is actually pretty impactful too. It's just kind of tough to get a lot of like this deck can like draw a lot of cards, but it's like a lot of setup, and it's kind of weird and clunky at times. So I'm going to put it at tier 2. It could maybe be a little bit better, but we're going to leave it there. Next up for specified slot, I'm going to put in 1.5, and this could definitely just be me liking this deck and playing a lot of reps with it, and maybe like coping a little bit, but it's been super fun to play. I think that the idea that you're able to like build a hand, or you build your pieces, and then if you do, you get some good effects for it. I think it does have a good amount of chance in this in general. So I do like what the deck gets to do. I think it is something that is like a little bit luck dependent at times, and it's a little bit hard to be consistent, but like when the deck goes off, it feels really strong. I also think like the Gon promo that we get with it helps the deck out a lot too. It just being able to give like impact to something to help you finish out the game can be very impactful too. So I like the deck. It is a little bit inconsistent, but I think there's some really cool builds of this, which I do like. Next up, we've got Green Gon. This one's like more of like using the starter deck, as well as like using like there's this whole kind of package where you kind of self boost your own stuff. So this one's like a little bit more weirdly defined. I'm going to put this in like 1.5. I still think if you're playing Green Hunter, you should probably play in the Kurapika package. But if you want more of like this, like just big bodies, like you get like a bunch of 5Ks, you get like a lot of impacts. You kind of rush down your opponent, and you just make it really difficult for them to be able to block your attacks. But you kind of lose out on a little bit more of the removal at times, and you just kind of have like a trickier time answering stuff. But you can go like really fast very early, and then if you do that, your opponent might have a hard time kind of stabilizing from that sense. So I'm actually going to put Gon like probably above. This is probably like the bottom of 1.5, as we'll see, but we'll go from there. Next up, we've got the blue Hunter Bomber archetype, and I think this deck is super fun too. Like there's some really cool stuff you get to do with it, but I don't think it's worth the I think there's just like a lot of consistency issues with it too. This might be a little bit better than tier 2, but I'm going to just kind of leave it there for now. I do know like there are like all these sets that we have, Hunter and Bleach right now, they do have second sets that exist in Japan already. So likely being able to get those sets in the future as well here in North America. So I know like Blue Bomber gets some cool stuff that makes it a little bit more viable, but right now it just has a little bit like lower consistency. It has a harder time removing some bigger bodies at times. And I'm just gonna leave it here in the tier 2. And next up, you got Toshiro, and this is a newer ad for me, but I'm actually thinking this is one of the better decks in this format. I'm not sure if it's better than Purple Bleach or Green Kurapika, but I've been really enjoying what this deck gets to do. You get some really good tempo. You have, I would say, like Kurapika and Toshiro are pretty similar in the sense of gameplay. The difference is like Kurapika has a little bit of a higher ceiling and gets to play out the bigger body, but is a little bit less consistent. Toshiro is generally pretty consistent. You get a lot of pressure out really early. You get a good amount of card draw. You're able to do some really good raids. The Unohana that you get to play with this is super great, being able to play out a 6-drop, play a body off the top of our deck essentially. All of that's just really, really good. So I do like what this is like. Also the one plate effect is a little bit more achievable than I thought as well. So I think this Toshiro is a little bit better than I thought, and I think a lot of people are testing it out and having some good thoughts for it. So this could go up the ladder. It might even be better than Kurapika, since they're pretty similar, but this is like more mid-range, and this is more kind of like big body and then control and just kind of impact for game with all your Kurapika. So because of that, we're going to leave that there. And then Yamamoto, I think like this deck is honestly pretty okay. I like, this is my preferred way to play green Bleach for a while, but then I think Toshiro is just better than it, to be honest. Like the 7-drop is great, but 7 was quite a difficult feat to get with this build, and then if you're able to do it, like I feel like Kurapika is better because like you get like a lot of like attack pressure, but you don't have like nearly any removal. And then like once you get to him, it's like cool. Well, if they have their special trigger, I just spent all that time and you just get removed by one card and one action point a lot of the time against most of these decks. So I wasn't a big enough fan of him. I don't know. We'll put him like in the middle here. But yeah, I wasn't super impressed compared to where I saw Toshiro with some more testing with it. So we're gonna leave it here in the middle. It might be able to get like a win every once in a while, but I feel like what it can do can be answered pretty easily compared to how much like time and like action points you have to put in to do it. So. And then next up, yellow. This could be, I could be wrong on this one. This one might be able to move up to tier 1, but I'm going to leave it at tier 2 for right now. I think like this deck gets to do some interesting things, and like resting stuff is pretty significant in this game because it just means they can't block if you have like a board full, right? You can do some free damage a lot of the time, right? Yellow is like probably one of the best decks to punish a 1 or 2 life opponent most of the time. But my only issue with this deck is consistency. At times you don't really get a lot of draw, or the draw that you do get is pretty specific, or like you have to meet some conditions, and it stinks when you have to kind of combo your pieces together. I have been playing a little bit more yellow lately though, and I do think that the deck is in a good spot. Like when it goes off, you feel really great with it. But again, like you have a hard time consistently drawing cards or seeing your pieces when you're in a deck that usually has like a lot of raids. Like obviously you want to play like the Bastardbine and Aandroidd, right? Because Aandroidd gets to rest something and then you get to pop something that's rested, right? But being able to like raid into both of those or have both of those out at the same time is really tough to do. Unless you play like a hard searcher, but then you have to spend time for it. So I don't know. Like I feel like the most of the combos you get to do with yellow Bleach, you get to do for one card in the other decks compared to like these a 2-card combo with setup kind of thing. So I could be wrong with this. This is maybe like my if this specified slot is like my optimistic choice, this is my pessimistic choice. These can definitely change from there. And then I don't really know where to put Phantom Troop. I'll put it like at the back of tier 1.5, and this could just be me liking the deck and potentially like what the deck can do at times. It might need to go over here. I don't know. I really do like it. I like it a lot. So it maybe my bias will be affecting it, but I think there's some really cool combos with it. The fact that you can kind of make some custom combos with your Crollo or your Skill Hunter and like your different effects. I think there's some ways to build this right now, and I think that I don't know. It's a little bit. I think that the ceiling for this deck is a little bit lower than the ceiling for the Aandroidd deck, but we're just gonna leave it here. So this is the end. This shows all the decks. So let me maybe rearrange it a little bit. This definitely needs to be the back of this one. Specified slot. Yellow can definitely move up here. I don't want to like. And I don't like making tier list all the time because I don't want it to dissuade people from testing decks. But sometimes this like persuades people to be like, oh, Eggman thinks that yellow's tier 2. I'm going to show him that it's at least tier 1.5, if not tier 1. So I hope this definitely persuades people to test other things and get their own opinions with it. But this is pretty close to where I'm at on this release. This can change in a couple days with more testing and more results and everything. But on release, this is where my thoughts are for this game. So lastly, one more time, so purple Bleach is still really good. I'm just saying that the Ichigo builds are probably better than the Byakuya Central builds, but they're always like a pile of cards, right? You can just mission match so much. Green Kurapika is really good. Green of the 13 guards has gotten more attention off the Toshiro builds than the Yamamoto builds in my mind, so I've been putting this one a little bit more. Green Gon just kind of it's like it has a lot of support, but none of it's like super good, but there's like some cool things you get to do with it. Blue specified slot definitely improves with the promo that it gets, but I'm not immediately sold. Crollo has been a lot of fun, and maybe this is putting this a little bit high compared to Aandroidd, which has been, when it works, it really works, but like the consistency is not there for me right yet, but Aandroid's really great for you. And then Genthru and Blue Bomber, I think this is fine. Like if I was to choose like 2 decks that are probably 2 of the worst ones, things. I honestly, like, these five are definitely like the worst 5 in the game right now. But that's like this difference between skill between tier 1 and 1.5 and 2 is not as like high between them compared to like a One Piece tier list that I've made before. So anyways, these are my thoughts. I'd love to hear yours as well. I think this has been a lot of fun, and I've been really enjoying making Union Arena content and testing and learning this game over the last couple of weeks, and I hope you guys have as well. So that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you all next time.